Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Change Your Mind podcast, where we explore personal development, spirituality, and science. I'm your host, Kris Ashley. I'm really excited. I have an amazing chiropractor today. We're going to talk about all her techniques. And as always, the conversation is going to go in a million different places that I didn't even expect, but it always ends up somewhere amazing that someone out there listening needed to hear. So a couple quick announcements before we get started. Head over to the links in the show notes. You are going to find a lot there. You'll find ways to connect with my guest. You'll find ways to connect with me on social media. You will find a link for my book, Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality. It was endorsed by 3 people from The Secret: Bob Doyle, Marcy Shimoff, Michael Beckwith. It was also endorsed by Anita Morjani, who wrote Dying to Be Me, and John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. You will find ways to sponsor the podcast, to get some free downloads, ways to connect with me as far as courses and coaching goes. And what else? Oh yeah, this podcast is part of the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. We're doing a lot in personal development. Come join us. What if the one thing keeping you stuck is the way you think? Welcome to Change Your Mind with Kris Ashley, the podcast where science meets spirituality and mindset becomes your most powerful tool for transformation. I'm Kris Ashley, author of Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality, trainer, speaker, and lifelong seeker. For years, I battled trauma, depression, anger, chronic illness, low self-worth, and the weight of old stories. Until I discovered how to rewire my mind, reconnect with my divine nature, and consciously create a new reality from the inside out. This show is here to help you do the same. Each week, we explore the intersection of personal development, spirituality, and science, diving into topics like healing, emotional mastery, entrepreneurship, resilience, and the quantum nature of reality. You'll hear powerful stories, gain practical tools, and real conversations that will help you change your perspective, get unshakable confidence, and live the vision your soul has always known is possible. Whether you're navigating a major life shift, building your dream business, or seeking deep healing and alignment, you're in the right place. So if you're ready to break through, take back your power, and create a life on your terms, this is your moment. Let's break free from the patterns that hold us back, awaken to who we truly are, and rise. Your transformation starts now. All right. With me today, I have Dr. Teshna. So Dr. Teshna embarked on a remarkable journey in chiropractic care. She earned her Doctor of Chiropractic degree in 1986 from Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, and has worked with thousands of patients since then. Driven by a thirst for knowledge, she pursued countless additional trainings and seminars, as well as developing her own innovative techniques. With a passion for healing and transformation, Dr. Teshna possesses a deep understanding of the human body and mind, swiftly identifying the root causes of physical and emotional issues. She excels at facilitating rapid shifts in her patients' well-being. Beyond her clinical practice, Dr. Teshna shares her wisdom through trainings, teaching her approach to clearing emotional issues with audiences worldwide. So welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, one of my best friends went to Palmer as well. He had a really great experience there. Okay, so I always start all of my episodes the same way, and that is by asking my guests what their origin story is. So what set you on this path to want to become a chiropractor, and especially someone who helps heal emotional issues as well?
Yeah, well, that's a really good one. Okay, well, it all started, I guess, from my upbringing and being born back in 1959, and my parents had a lot of issues, and my father ended up having a nervous breakdown when I was 2 years old, and they ended up splitting up. So there was a lot of stress, and then my mom had to go back to work, so she put us in foster homes. So I was in 3 different foster homes between the ages of 2 and 7 years old, and got abused in the last one. So there was a lot there, just right there, right from the get-go, right? And then my mom and I were like this, not because we didn't love each other, but because we didn't understand each other. And my mother was very nervous and anxious, and she would get very critical and angry and that type of thing. So there was a lot of conflict. So I always was fascinated with wanting to be healthy. So I was born with that desire to be healthy. I was thinking mostly physically. And so I ended up going into, first of all, at 17, I started doing yoga and meditation, and I became vegetarian at 17. And this is in 1977, I mean, 1978, right? Nobody, I'm from Quebec, nobody was vegetarian. Hardly anyone knew anything about yoga. Forget about meditation. I mean, I'm a trailblazer, right? Mm-hmm. And then I ended up going to physical education, and I got a bachelor degree in physical education. And that's what I wanted to do because I was into health. So I was already doing the food thing. I was exercising, I was meditating and doing yoga and all this stuff. So I thought, if I teach people how to exercise so they can be healthy, then that's what I want to do. But then during that training, I was part of advanced yoga classes, and one of them, I was doing a headstand, and I fell out of it wrong, right, backward, right on my T1, T2 area, and it really hurt, and I couldn't breathe, and all of a sudden I came back, and I thought it hurt, but I thought it was going to be okay. But what happened is 3-4 months down the line, I started having these really sharp pain on my shoulder, right here and right here, as if a knife was coming in every time I took a breath in, and it was getting worse. So I went to the doctor, and he took my urine and my blood pressure and my blood samples and all that, and told me to come back in a week. And I'm like, in a week? You don't understand. Every breath I take is excruciating. He said, I don't think we can do until we have the test result. Of course, I go back there a week later. They told me my blood pressure was perfect, my blood picture was perfect, and my urine was perfect. So there was nothing wrong with me. It was all in my head. And I said,
so infuriating.
Right. I know exactly. And here I am, I'm 20 at that time. Right. And I have this excruciating pain every time I'm breathing in and out. And so I thought, I didn't know what else to do. So I thought, I'll go to my yoga class and see if I stretch it. Maybe it's going to help. But I was in so much pain, I could barely do anything. And one of my friends in the class noticed that. And after the class, she came to me. She said, what's going on? And I told her. And she says, well, why don't you go see a chiropractor? Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. We're talking about, we're in 1980, right? In 1980 in Quebec, nobody knew anything about chiropractic. I didn't know what chiropractor did at all, and I didn't know anyone who went to one. And this person happened to have a chiropractor, and so she gave me his name. And it's so funny because his name was Alain Corps, C-O-R-P-S. If you translate that in English, it's Alan Body. So that's the name of my first chiropractor.
Wow, he was meant to be.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's so funny. So I went to see him, and he took an X-ray of my spine there, and he showed me how it had been displaced. Like my T1 was like this over on the side, and that's why it was so painful. And so he said, "Did you ever have any injuries there?" And I said, no, because you know how it is, you don't remember these kinds of things. And after he adjusted me, I remembered that I had fallen from that headstand, and I said, could I have done it? And he said, yeah. And so right after the first adjustment, he was using activator. I already felt 50% better. And after 2 or 3 more adjustments, I was 100% better. And I was so excited that I found somebody who actually could help me. And it wasn't with drugs, and it wasn't with surgery, and I wasn't being told it's all in my head, right? So I was really excited. I said, I have to become a chiropractor. I want to be able to do this for other people, because I realized it didn't matter how well I ate, how much I meditated, how much I stretched, how much I exercised. If I had subluxations in my spine, I couldn't be 100% healthy. So I decided to go to chiropractic college at Palmer College in Davenport, Iowa. That was a big deal because my first language was French. And so this was all in English. And so I had a lot of things to do to make that happen, and I did. And so, is that enough of an origin story?
I love that story. That's a great story. Props to you for being so ahead of your time, practicing yoga and meditation at a time where like really was not widespread at all.
No.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And I'm sure your body is like so grateful and your mind is so grateful for all of that. So, you started off telling about the trauma you went through. Like, I can't even imagine as a 2-year-old being put in that like breaks my heart. I have a 1-year-old in the other room and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. So I have a feeling you started off with that story for a reason. Let's bring it over to like emotions and repressed emotions, like, was that something that showed up later in your life that chiropractic or like your own research or like healing modalities have helped with?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, because I was doing a lot of yoga, I did a lot of reading, right, about yoga and about the philosophy and all these types of things. And then when I went to chiropractic college, it was like I felt like I was in heaven, so to speak, because everybody was into health. There was other vegetarians there. This is 1983, still really early, right? It's like 40 years ago. And so I felt like I was with my tribe, it's like people who were into health and eating well and exercising. There was a lot of bodybuilders and, that kind of thing, so, and I right away, I got exposed to applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, the whole body as a chiropractic technique. And back then it was brand new, again, a trailblazer, right? Because Dr. Goodhart discovered the whole idea of muscle testing in 1976. And this was 1983. So that was only 7 years old. Nobody knew anything about muscle testing back then. And I got really into it. And then in 1984, we had an international conference of applied kinesiology. And in that conference, it was many doctors of different, not just chiropractors. Also, there were psychotherapists, there were medical doctors, dental medical doctors. And Dr. Roger Callahan, who is the father of tapping, presented for the very first time his ideas of using tapping on meridian points to release emotions. Now, I happened to be there the very first time he mentioned that, and I started using it right that day. So I dare you to find anybody who's done tapping longer than I have. And so other than Dr. Callahan, who passed away a number of years ago, so he's not around anymore. But back then, see, in applied kinesiology, we were using acupuncture points and we would tap them for like sedating a muscle or activating it, increasing the energy in a meridian, more on a physical level. But because he was a psychotherapist, he said, well, how do I use that information for my field? So he explored that, and that's how he discovered that tapping acupuncture points would actually help with the emotional aspect of things. So I started working on myself using that tapping very early on and started developing ways of using it. And then in 1987, I was at another conference that was a total body modification, which is an advanced form of applied kinesiology in Hawaii. And Dr. Scott Walker, who is the father of neuro-emotional technique, happened to be there. You know that? You know about that?
I just got it done for the first time like a month ago.
Well, there you go. So he happened to be there and present his ideas about neuroemotional technique for the very first time. And again, I was there and I started using his principles right away. And then when he started teaching it, I took all his seminars and I became certified in NET and all that. And I love NET and it's a great technique. However, it's only available for practitioners. You can only take those trainings if you're already a doctor of chiropractic or a medical doctor or a psychotherapist, that kind of thing. And I wanted to be able to teach my patients simple techniques that they could use on themselves. So so I ended up creating a technique that's a combination of muscle testing and tapping and holding pulse points and using neurovascular reflexes. That is, and also like NLP. I also took an NLP training, like a master NLP practitioner, and elements of that. And so just like a little bit of different things, and then my own inventions of how to use these things. And it became a very powerful technique that I started teaching to my patients way back when. The first version of that was probably I taught it 35 years ago. And then I continued on teaching it and improving it and discovering new things. And then when I had been married, I met my first husband in chiropractic college at Palmer College. And we were together for 20 years. And after we were together for 18 years, we had a child. And then when he was 2, when my son was 2, my husband fell in love with someone else and left us. And I was devastated. And I was like, how could this be? Like, you would think after being with somebody for 18 years, there's a pretty safe bet that it's going to be okay if we have a child. And especially growing up from divorced parents, I never wanted that if I was going to ever have a child. And here I'm finding myself doing exactly what I didn't want to do. And then
at the same age, by the way, the same age you were.
Exactly. And then it dawned on me that I was repeating my own pattern. My parents split up when I was 2 years old. And here I was splitting up from my husband when my son is 2 years old. And that was my big aha moment, to just like say, whoa, this is intense. I must have had a belief that said that as a parent, once I have a 2-year-old, I'm supposed to split up from my husband. And I manifested it because I believed it, because that's what happened to me. And so that sent me into a whole different trajectory of testing for beliefs instead of just okay statements. And then I thought, well, if I believe that, what else did I believe about my relationship and what love is that didn't serve me? And so I made like a whole list of things that I could see in my marriage, the things I liked, the things I didn't like. And in my book, I tell people how to do this, the same exercise that I did at that time. And that was such a big eye opener, because I just realized everything that I had in my relationship that I didn't like was the same exact dynamics that I had with my mother. The criticism, I'm never good enough, making me feel like I'm number 2 because my sister needed more because she's younger, she was premature and all that. So my mom's attention went to her. So my husband made me feel like I was number 2. His work was more important. Some patients were more important. And so I realized I was repeating all these same exact things. And so I developed a technique to get rid of that stuff and just eliminate these limiting beliefs that I didn't want. And then I ended up writing a list of what I was looking for my next guy. And it was like 3-page long list. And I checked myself to make sure I was congruent with every single aspect that I wrote on that list.
You muscle test yourself?
Yes. And I teach how to do that. I teach people in my trainings, I teach people how to test themselves and how to make sure they're not switched. Because sometimes people try muscle testing and it doesn't work, quote, for them. It's because they're switched. So there's like a neurological disorganization that can occur that prevents you from being able to muscle test yourself accurately. But anyway, I teach all that in the trainings. And so I tested myself, I cleared all these limiting beliefs, and then I also made sure I was congruent with everything I said I wanted to see in my next guy. And then literally I cleared myself for 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks later I met him.
Okay, I have to tell you, I made a list of everything I wanted in my dream guy, and 2 weeks later I met my husband, and he was everything on the list. So I was like, yes, when you said list, I'm like, I'm right there with you. I'm so glad that we got connected, because we're so similar, except like I go do every healing modality, you learn how to teach it, right? Yeah. And it's like that like never being satiated, like always wanting more knowledge and always wanting more learning and healing. So I love it. And I knew there was like a reason that you and I got brought together. You know, have you ever, a lot of what you're talking about reminds me of the Body Code too. Have you ever read that book?
I haven't actually read
Or the
that.
Emotion Code?
No, I haven't. I don't think I have actually read the whole thing. Somebody gave me the book and I scanned it. But what I do is so much further than that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's that on steroids. Actually, I would
It
say,
reminds me of it because it's like muscle testing and you can do it on yourself and it gets rid of belief systems and emotions and all of those things. But it also reminds me, the emotion code reminds me a lot of what's it called? The
emotional
what is it? The
technique.
NET? Yeah, neuroemotional technique.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm like so excited by how much you said. Can you run through like your technique? Like what does it look like?
Yeah. Do you have something you're stressed about right now? I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
need to
trying to
know
get,
what it is. I don't need to know what it is.
okay.
So you have something you're stressed about right now?
I do, yeah.
Okay. And at the same time, whoever's watching, think of something you're stressed about and then rate yourself from like 0 to 10. Where's the stress level? So where's your stress level right now?
Probably like a 7.
A 7. Okay. So let's have you. So I'm going to teach you some of the points we're going to use. Sometimes I use
Okay.
pulse points. Sometimes I use tapping points. Okay. So we're going to
Okay.
use the pulse points. So the
Okay.
pulse points, the first point is right there at the crease of the wrist on the thumb side. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Second point is right next to that,
Okay.
going vertical. Yeah. Third point is right next to that.
Okay.
And you're a little too far in the middle. You want to be more on the side, so you're on the pulses. If you press, you'll feel your pulse.
Yep.
So I know you're on the right place. Those are called pulse points. They've been discovered like 5,000 years ago by acupuncture people, okay? And then we also have point 0, which is point 0 is right here at the base of the thumb.
Okay.
Yes.
Like there.
Okay. And the way we're going to hold these points is just like in the NET. You're going to put your hand, the back of your hand face like that. You're going to curl your fingers around it like this so you can reach the point from this direction.
Okay. Am I
Okay.
at the right spot then?
Yeah. And then just hold all 3 points at first. All 3 points at first. That's it. And then, so I'm going to have you just hold the third one you're on the right wrist, or the third one on the right wrist. Okay. So I was on the left, but so just
Like
hold the
that?
third one. Yeah, exactly. And now put your hand on your forehead like this
Okay.
and close your eyes. And I want you to go back to when that situation started to stress you out. And I want you to breathe out the feeling of being vulnerable in that situation. And I'm going to name a whole bunch of emotions, and whichever ones you feel, you just release, you just breathe it out. Okay. And not all of them will apply, but many of them will. And so then I want you to also breathe out the feeling of being paranoid about something in that situation, and maybe feeling scared, feeling like you can't figure it out, feeling insecure, feeling lost, depleted by it, feeling suppressed, feeling like you have to numb out. Maybe you feel abandoned and deserted in that situation. And just breathe it all out until you feel a shift. And then you can relax your arms down. Good. So now I want you to rate yourself again. Where would you rate the stress now when you think about that same situation? What number pops in your mind from 0 to 10?
A 5 popped in my mind.
Excellent. So now what's the 5 about? What comes up? What's the emotion? Is it worry? Is it fear?
Emotion.
Sad? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Are you mortified? Like what emotion comes to mind with that 5? What makes it a 5?
I guess it's frustration and anxiety. Would it help if I told you what it is, or do you not want to know?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. If you don't mind sharing it, you can say.
It's been dealing with 8 years of infertility, and I'm trying to get pregnant again.
Got it. So go to the second point on the left wrist now. So go to your left wrist, wrap it around, hold all 3 points at first so you know you're on the right spot, and then just hold the second one down.
Am I on the right spot?
Yeah, just the second one. Middle finger.
I'm just trying to feel for it. I'm like, how do I do that? Okay.
And just put your hand like this again. That's it. And close your eyes and go back to when it first started to frustrate you, that you've been trying to have a child and it's not happening. And just breathe out the feeling of frustration and feeling like it doesn't make any sense and feeling depressed about it and emotionally repressed, feeling betrayed by your own body, feeling bitter, feeling aggravated, irritated, feeling like it doesn't make any sense. And just letting it all go until you feel a shift. And then you can relax your arms down. Good. So where would you rate the stress now from 0 to 10? What number pops in your mind?
A 3, which is really interesting.
Yes. And what's the 3 about? What comes up? What's the emotion or the feeling or the thought?
I guess like sad. I think like it was hard for me to feel all those emotions that quickly when you were saying it. But when you said like betrayal, I was like, ooh, that one like cut me. Like that one made me tear up a little bit. So
yes.
I guess like a little bit of sadness and a little bit of that.
Yes. So what I find is that you don't really need to focus so much on each of the emotions. You just listen, and your right brain is just clearing them as you hear them. And some of them will be more, like you said, just like you feel it more. So then just feel that and breathe it out. Okay. So now we're going to go on the first point on the right wrist. First point on the right wrist. And put that on your forehead.
Is it like right here? Or is it down here?
Right at the crease. Right at the crease.
So right
That's
there.
it. Right there. And put that on your forehead.
I feel the pulse now.
Like a little bit more. So you want to just go a little bit more around. So you want to be, so that you're touching it like this. That's it. Okay. And now put that on your forehead. And let's have you breathe out the feeling of sadness that you feel about this, that you so want to have another child and you've been really trying hard and you're feeling sad that it's not happening. And feeling grief, feeling like crying, anguish, cloudy thinking, feeling defensive about this happening, yearning for another child, feeling dogmatic that you should be able to have another child and you don't understand why it's not happening. Feeling compelled to perfection, and this doesn't feel perfect, so it's stressing you out. And just breathe it all out, all that sadness until you feel a shift, and then you can relax your arms down.
It's amazing that you know what emotions to call out.
Like each meridian relates to very specific emotions, and I teach that in my training as well. Yes.
Wow.
This comes from acupuncture, from the Chinese medicine. It's been known forever. You know, I'm not inventing that. So where would you rate the stress now when you think about this from 0 to 10?
I feel like it's like a 2.
A 2. And what's the 2 about? What comes up? What's the feeling?
I think what you said, like a little bit like dogmatic a little bit, or just like, yeah, I guess that's a good word for it. Just kind of like stubborn about it. Like I eat healthy, I do all these things, I'm a yoga practitioner, I meditate, I do all these things, like, why isn't this happening? Like a little bit, I guess a little bit of like anger too.
Yes. Okay, so let's have you go to the third one on the left wrist. Third on the left. So wrap all 1, 2, 3 and just hold the third one with the ring finger. Put that on your forehead. And this time I want you to breathe out the feeling of being kind of pissed off about this, that you're doing everything in your power to be healthy and so that you should be able to be fertile. And why is this not happening? And you're feeling paralyzed will about that. Like feeling like there's nothing more you can do. And feeling fear and dread that the clock is ticking and maybe you'll never be able to have another child, right? And just letting all of that go. Feeling in a mental funk about it. Feeling wishy-washy about what else to do. Feeling inefficient, that you've been trying for so long and it's not happening. Feeling a sense of impending doom. Like the clock is ticking. And feeling paralyzed will. And pissed off. And when you feel a shift with that, you can relax your arms down.
Again, you said all the right things. Like when you were like, oh, wishy-washy, or like the clock is running. I'm like, I'm turning 40 this year. Like, and it's like, do I go for more fertility treatments? Do I not? So yeah.
So where would you rate the stress now from 0 to 10?
I think it's like a 1.
Good. And
which is crazy because it started at a 7.
Exactly. And how long does that take? Maybe like 10 minutes at the most. So what's the one about? Let's go after it. What comes up?
I mean, I think it had to do with that, like that anxiety that I'm running out of time.
Got it. So go to the second point on the right. Second on the right.
This is so cool.
And put that on
If you're listening, I hope you're doing this too, because this is so cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Because no matter what you're going through, these emotions will probably will help you to release.
Yeah.
Put that on your forehead. Second point on the right. And let's have you breathe out the feeling of worry about this. Feeling really worried that time is running out. And feeling over concerned about it. Feeling lack of control over events because you're trying everything in your power to make this happen and it's not happening. And you're feeling low self-esteem about it, like something's wrong with you or something. Feeling distrust that you'll ever be able to have another child. Feeling disgusted with that situation and maybe disgusted with yourself that no matter how much you try, it hasn't worked. Feeling obsessed with this. It's like it's hard to stop thinking about it. Feeling stifled because you so much want to be a mother of another child. Feeling nervous that you're running out of time. Feeling hopelessness and despair when you really get down to it. And just letting it all go. All that worry and over concern and the ultimate lack of control over events. And when you feel a shift with that, you can relax your arms down.
Yeah, I think the hopelessness, as soon as you said that, I was like, ooh, felt that in my heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
So where would you rate the stress now from 0 to 10?
I don't know. It's like under a 1 for sure.
Good. Excellent. And if I was going to do a session with you, which I would be happy to do, we can keep working on that, because I also teach people how to get rid of the addiction to the chemicals produced in your brain and body when you feel that hopelessness or when you feel that you're being betrayed by your own body. We get addicted to those chemicals, and I teach people how to get rid of that. So like whatever your go-to emotion is, like some people it's worry all the time. They're always worried about everything. Or other people it's they're angry all the time, right? Other people is they feel depressed or whatever it is, right? Anxious. And I teach people how to get rid of that very quickly. And usually you'll feel a relief in your body somewhere at the same time, because every meridian that relates to these emotions also relate to specific muscles, specific joints, areas of the spine, organs, so that if you have, like, say, a problem with your liver, there's probably a lot of anger that hasn't been expressed. And so it's all repressed in there and it's creating havoc. And so I teach people how to release that so that the organ actually gets healthier.
That's amazing. So what meridians did we press on today?
Well, we did a lot of them because, because we had many layers to this issue, right?
Yeah.
So we did the lung meridian, we did the liver meridian, we did the kidney meridian, the adrenal and reproductive system. We did spleen and stomach meridian. Wow. So those are the ones that we did. Yes.
So what did we do today? Did we clear emotions that are creating an energy blockage? What's the kind of scientific explanation of what just happened? Because I feel different. I totally feel different about it. And I could feel, like I said, the emotions coming up.
Exactly. Well, I guess the way I explain it is that when we have something that really stresses us out, it creates a charge in that meridian or several meridians. And when you're holding these points and these reflexes up here, the neurovascular reflexes, you literally dispel the charge out of the meridian about that one thing that you're working on, so that it's no longer there. So you'll never feel stressed about this again the way that you were. There's
really?
Yes.
Wow.
There's other aspect that we need to clear. And that's why I'm saying I'm happy to work with you, after this or whenever you want, we can schedule it, but to clear the rest of it. Okay. Because this is just with MTT, this is just a very small part of what we can do, because I can help people get rid of phobias in 15 minutes. I can help them get rid of PTSD, addictions, limiting beliefs, truly forgive someone on all levels. And you feel the difference, just like you feel it in your body right now. You feel the exact same way, because everybody knows that we should forgive, right? It's in every spiritual teachings. Forgiveness is the biggest thing that they say we need to do. But most people can't forgive. Most people, even if you say to yourself, I forgive so-and-so, when you really think about it, you can feel it in your body that you didn't, right? It's you still feel the charge, you still feel the anger or the frustration, or you're sad because you got betrayed or whatever, right? And so when you do MTT, I figured out a way of clearing all of that so that you truly and completely feel not only you totally forgive them, but I also teach you how to get to the grateful place, so that, because the law of gratefulness is greater than the law of forgiveness. So if you can get to gratefulness for what happened, because you can see the silver lining in it, or because it simply made you who you are and brought you to this point of realization, it's huge what happens. It really releases so much stress out of your body that it gives you more energy, just because you don't have that grudge anymore. One of my students likes to say, going from grudge to gratitude. And
I love that. And I'm like, oh, that'd be a good episode title. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to book a session with you, because I'm so excited about all of this. So when you're not forgiving someone, is there that charge in your body too? And it just gets stuck in certain organs or meridians, or what is that? Because I'm thinking okay, just thinking about myself, I've done a lot of forgiveness work on people in the past, and I've come to a place where I'm grateful because I intellectually know that I'm the person I am because of it, and that A wouldn't have happened if B wouldn't happen. So, you know what I mean? But of course, there's still charged parts in my body, right? Yes. So does it work like the other way around? If you like intellectually know it?
What do you mean? If
Yeah, I
you
don't know.
actually know it,
So like if you like intellectually know like, oh yeah, I do feel gratitude for that. Like I do have that perspective, but it's still, you still feel it in your body sometimes, or you know it's still affecting you. Like, can you work backwards like that?
well, I guess the way I do it is I just test, because
Yeah.
I just test for it, just either muscle test you, or I use actually a lens when I'm doing things online. This is what it looks like. I'm rubbing this lens, and let's have you say, I am a woman. Say that.
Yeah. I'm a woman.
Okay, and no change. It's still very smooth. Now let's have you say, I am a man.
I'm a man.
And as soon as you say that, it becomes very sticky. Okay, so that's the equivalent of a strong muscle or a weak muscle. So that's what I use when I do online sessions with people.
So are you tapping into my energy then?
We're all connected. We think we're separate, but we're really like just one. We're all one, right? And we're all connected in the quantum field. So when you say something you're congruent with, I don't pick up any difference. Just like if you were hooked to a lie detector, you would be able to see that nothing changes when you say something you're congruent with. But if you say something you're incongruent with, all of a sudden you'll see a spike in your blood pressure, in your heart rate, your breathing rate, your sweating rate, your pupils will dilate, and your muscles will go weak. People don't know that. Muscles become inhibited when you say something you're incongruent with. And so just like you get a sweat response when you say something you're incongruent with, I pick up on that and I get a sweat response. So as I'm rubbing this and I'm getting a little sweat response, it feels stickier. Do you see? And I teach that in my certification. I actually just did my very first certification. I'm so excited. Last week. So I had 14 people in the certification. I had 6 people who actually came all the way to Vilcabamba, Ecuador, because that's where I live now. And 8 people that were online. I did a hybrid event and it went fantastic. And I taught them how to use the lens because all of them want to be able to do online sessions. And so I taught them how to do that.
That's incredible. I was taught to do like a sway test, and that seems to work really well too. I like that one because I've also been taught to do muscle testing like this, but it's really hard for me. Like I get a better response from the sway for some reason.
Yeah.
But is that as powerful in your mind?
Yeah, the sway works as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never seen the lens thing though. That's really interesting.
Yes.
Wow, how amazing! Like, there's so much more going on than we're aware of, right? Like, we really are energetic beings.
Yes, we are.
So how does this work to clear out limiting beliefs? Because that's something else I got kind of excited about that you were talking about.
Yes. So do you have a belief that you think that you have that's limiting you?
Yeah, I don't want to say this one out loud, but yes.
Oh, well, so then can you
Oh, do I need to say it out loud?
Yeah, because you kind of have to say it out loud so I can test you for it because I'm using
Okay.
right now. So see if you can find another one that you don't mind sharing.
Well, let me say it in a way that won't. Okay. My limiting belief is I don't think I'm worthy of having a show on a specific network. I'll say that.
Okay, all right. So let's me say I can let go of the belief.
I can let go of the belief.
That love and life mean.
That love and life what? Mean?
Mean. Mm-hmm.
That love and life mean.
Mm-hmm. Being unworthy.
Being unworthy.
Of having my show on this particular network.
Of having my show on this particular network.
And that's definitely showing up as weak. So if I was testing you, you would be going weak. Okay? If you do your sway test, It will show you that you're
I have to stand to do it, but should I do it?
Well, if you want, it's just another.
Yeah, it's okay. I want to do it your way.
Okay. So now we know that you have that. Okay. So I'm going to have you touch the first point on the right wrist. First point on the right wrist.
So that was okay.
Okay. And put that on your forehead. Close your eyes and go back as far back as it goes when you felt like somehow you were unworthy of getting what you really want. And breathe out the feeling of being dogmatic about that. and feeling sad about this, and grief, and crying, feeling anguish when you feel unworthy of having what you really want. Starting way back when, all the way up to now and into the future, when you imagine yourself being on that network and feeling unworthy of it. And just breathe that out, that belief, that love and life mean being unworthy of ever being on that network with your show. And feeling dogmatic about that, and sad, grief, crying, anguish, cloudy thinking, defensive, yearning, compelled to perfection, and unless you're perfect, you feel unworthy. And just let it all go until you feel a shift, and then you can relax your arms down.
You know what's really interesting, and I forgot about this, but the same thing happened that one time I got NET, is this memory of like a friend who like ghosted me, who was like my best friend, and then just one day he stopped talking to me, and I still to this day have no idea. It came up and I got so sad, and that happened during NET too, and I'm like, how is that connected? But it's so interesting that it came up twice.
Yes, and that could be that you felt unworthy of your friend's friendship, and that's why they ghosted you, you know, so that it just
So
going into that same meridian, touching that same program. So now let's have you say it again. Say, I can let go of the belief
I can let go of the belief
that love and life mean
that love and life mean
being unworthy
being unworthy
of having my show on this particular network.
of having my show on this particular network.
Good. So now you're testing strong on that. Okay. So that means you can let go of that belief that you're unworthy. Now, when we get together, I will clear the rest of that, because I need to clear the addiction you have to this, the stress around it, you know, forgive yourself, forgive them, you know, all of that. So we need to clear all of these things, and then it's you're not going to have that, and you're much more likely to attract what you want. Because when you feel unworthy, your vibration is that you feel unworthy. So of course they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to think you're unworthy. So you have to vibrate at the level that you want to be recognized at.
I totally understand all of that, and I totally agree as someone who like has studied the law of attraction and all that a lot. But I have to just tell viewers, like, I feel different right now, like after that, which is crazy, because we just worked on that with one little point, and I don't know how to put it into words, but it feels like there's more of like a hardness, like it feels like firmer, like something inside of me. And everyone go get a session. What does MTT stand for, by the way?
Meridian therapy and tapping, because I use both pulse points, which is more like meridian therapy, and then tapping, but it's a different tapping sequence than EFT. It's much shorter, much quicker, and it works really well, really fast. You don't have to do it several times.
I mean, it's just incredible how quickly you're able to help people. I mean, are there any like really cool success stories you want to share? Like what's been the wildest?
Oh my God, I have so many of them, but I'll tell you this one. A woman 2 years ago, she took my training, because I do a 3-day training where I teach people all these things, like how to clear limiting beliefs and how to clear phobias and addictions and PTSD and limiting, the whole 9 yards, right? So, and when I teach it, I always ask for a volunteer so I could demo it on. So I was working on the phobia protocol. So I said, is there anybody here that has a phobia they'd like me to work with as a demo? So this woman raised her hand, and I said, so what's the phobia? She says, I have a phobia of vomit. Ever since I was 6 years old, I will pass out if I see somebody have vomit. And she couldn't even write the word vomit. And she had tried everything. She had had that phobia for 44 years by the time I saw her. She had tried all kinds of therapies, you name it, nothing worked. She still had it. It was so bad that she wouldn't let anybody drive with her in case they got car sick and vomit. She had to leave
Wow.
like weddings, and if she went clubbing, she had to leave early before people would get drunk and possibly vomit. I mean, it was affecting her marriage. It was, it was just like crazy, right? And
so weird and like specific and
yeah, exactly. And she had had that ever since she was 6 years old, when her cousin vomited all over the kitchen, and she was so scared that it created a phobia for her. And so whenever, if she ever saw anybody vomit, she wouldn't be able to sleep for at least 2 nights. She had PTSD really bad for at least 2 weeks, like with this, like constantly replaying these pictures of people vomiting and all that. It was really like not good, right? So she didn't really think I was going to be able to help her. So I said, okay, let's start. So I start doing the procedure. I do the thing. 15 minutes later, the phobia is gone. Just gone. Okay? She could write the word vomit if she wanted to. She could think about it. It wasn't affecting her at all. And now the proof is in the pudding, or I could say in this case, the proof is in the vomit, because a month later, she went to a wedding, and it was all young people, and she could see they were all drinking and everything. Normally, she would have been out of there at 7, but she was perfectly fine. She was sitting at a table talking with somebody and all that. She could see all these young people getting drunk. And then sure enough, a woman on the table next to her vomits. And she just looks at her with no emotion, like no charge at all, just none. And then she just felt compassion for her. And she kept doing whatever she was doing, and she went home like when she felt like it. And then she slept fine. She had, normally she wouldn't have been able to sleep. She had no PTSD whatsoever. 15 minutes.
That's a crazy story. Wow. And you did it just with like similar like we did here, like on the meridians, and wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then so this woman was just in my certification that we just did. So it's been over 2 years now, and she hasn't had any issues with vomit whatsoever. As a matter of fact,
now she's getting certified.
In this certification, I needed a demo for addiction. So she volunteered, and she had an addiction to social media. And getting all these likes and all that stuff. And she just needed to have that. And she would just like look at it all day and every day, and just like be really distracted from her work and everything. And so I worked with her. And again, in 15 minutes, we got rid of that addiction. And the next day, that was towards the end of the training. So after she was home, I think it was the day after, or maybe that day or whatever, she said the next morning she got 6 messages from people. And normally she would have been like right on it, like respond right away, and because they like her and all this stuff. This time she looked at it and she said, I'm gonna have to respond to these people. I don't have time for this. And then she just did her day, and she didn't even check social media once in the whole day.
That's amazing. And that's probably so much better for her mental health. Oh my gosh. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful what you figured out. That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I thank you so much. Is there anything that we didn't touch on today that you really want to leave listeners with, or that you really want to like get out there into the world?
Well, I guess what I want to say is that there's hope. If you're feeling stressed, if you can't forgive, if you have limiting beliefs and self-sabotage and phobias and addictions and PTSD, check MTT out, because it will help you. I mean, so far I've been able to help pretty much anyone and everyone that's come to take the trainings. And you can start with just doing the free group sessions that I do every Sunday. So every Sunday at 1 p.m., I do a free group sessions. Anyone can join. It doesn't cost you anything. You get to experience it for yourself, just like you just did. And then if you like that, I also offer a 1-day MTT immersion that's also for free. unless you want to do a VIP, like, which is $97, okay? And then because my goal is to put that tapping sequence in everybody's hands and at least teach them how to clear their stress with it. And also how to muscle test themselves so that they can access their subconscious and see how powerful that is. And then it's not for everyone, but people who really get this, they want to know the rest of it. And then I invite them to take my 3-day training or become a member. I have a membership as well where we meet every week and I help them clear all kinds of stuff. And we do that every week. And they also have access to the recorded course that I have. And people can also buy the recorded course if they wanted to. I teach the 3-day training 4 times a year. So my next one is actually on February 14 to 16, and it's 9 to 4. And it's a great training. People love it. And so if you want, you can go on my website, which is drteshna.com, drteshna.com, and then all the information is there. You can click on free group sessions, and then you go on there and you choose the date that you want, and then you get the Zoom link in your email, and then you can join the group, you know. And sometimes I have 40 people, sometimes I have 10 people, whoever shows up. My goal is to have 500 people on this call. I want 500 people every week clearing stress and forgiving somebody. Imagine the shift that can happen in a year, 52 times, right? If you clear, I mean, I have people that have come on that free call several times. When she first started, this particular woman I'm thinking about, she was in so much pain. She was so stiff everywhere. She couldn't walk. She couldn't move. And after doing a few sessions, the free group sessions, all of that went away.
Wow.
Just from clearing emotional stress and forgiving.
It is so admirable. It is so admirable that you're doing so much. You're offering so much for free.
I am, because that's my goal. It's mission. It's my mission. Because once I discovered all these things and put it together, you know, like, sure, I could just teach my son and it stays in the family, right? My son is doing this work too. But it's like, that's not my goal. My goal is to put that tool in everybody's hands. And talking about my origin story, remember the stress I had with my mom? She was so stressed all the time and she was trying to be better, but she couldn't. She wasn't able to. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't be less nervous. She couldn't be less anxious and less angry or critical or whatever, right? And she tried, but she couldn't. So my mission is to put this in the hands of every mother and father and child. I teach this to children. Children can do this. Imagine what the world would be like if we had every kid know how to hold their points and breathe out their stress or tap their points. And imagine if every parent had that tool so they can help themselves be less stressed and in turn help their kids. That's my goal.
I have goosebumps from hearing you talk. Like it is so apparent what a big heart you have and that you're just on this mission to help people. And I just applaud you and I'm so grateful to have met you. I'm so grateful for this whole conversation and for the little session you gave me. And so people can attend the free group session more than once too?
Yes, absolutely. You can come every week. That's the point. Just come every week and clear another stress. Just
all right. Well, you'll probably see me there. That's amazing. And if you're listening, you literally have no excuse. Like, why wouldn't you go check this out?
Exactly. And to me, the proof is in the pudding. If you do it once, you'll know how it works. And if it works for you, which it does for most people, then come back every week and clear another stress. Forgive another person. So what I do is 1 week, I help people clear stress. And 1 week, I help them forgive someone. And we just alternate like that every other week. And that's my commitment. I'm committed to doing this for this whole year again. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now.
Do you ever have someone where it takes like multiple sessions to release something or forgive someone, or is it pretty much everyone does it in a session?
I would say 95% one session is enough, but 5% need more than one session. That, especially when I do it as a group, because everybody's different, right? But I found that I can clear at least 90, 95% of people down to zero as a group. And then the few people who don't, I tell them come back next week and clear the rest of it, because it just means that there's more layers. Just like for you, right? You had like a number of layers, right? Some people have even more layers than that before they can get to close to the zero. So they just need to do more layers that I don't have time to do in one group session. So they come back the next week and finish it up then.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Everyone, all the links are in the show notes. You can go check it out if you didn't have a chance to write it down. And send this to someone you think could use it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Have a beautiful rest of your day.